because of mistakes I made in the past.
Yeah, it is, right?
Nobody sees me for the
Freeform's hit drama comedy The Bold Type first aired in 2017 and has since then come quite a long way. But while it did grow a decently sized fan base, it was canceled earlier this year, making its 5th season its last. In today's video, we're going to go over just why Season 6 of The Bold Type will never happen. In its recent years, the streaming platform Freeform has grown its viewership with its lineup of hit shows, which include comedy dramas such as Grownish and The Bold Type. The Bold Type first became popular when it hit screens in 2017 for its diversity and representation of women in the workforce. It featured 3 women working at a fictional magazine called Scarlet. Kat Edison, who's played by Aisha D, is the head of social media in the company. Kat is joined by 2 of her best friends, played by Katie Stevens and Megan Fahey, Sutton Brady and Jane Sloan, who are both assistants, hoping for their big break in editorials and fashion. Although the 3 have experienced multiple obstacles in their journey throughout the show, they have also been able to accomplish many of their goals, while also experiencing personal growth. Kat utilizes her social media skills to help others, Jane climbs the corporate ladder, and Sutton finally becomes a high-profile stylist. An interesting fact about the show is that it was actually inspired by the real-life editor of Cosmopolitan magazine, Joanna Coles. However, the show came to a sad end recently in June, and fans found it a bit hard to let go of the 5-season-long drama. But this end doesn't seem to be the only bump in the road The Bold Type has faced, as it was already on its 4th leg when the pandemic hit. In fact, in March, the showrunners made the announcement that the show production would be taking a break. Then about 3 weeks before filming was finished for its 4th season, it got suspended. The good news, though, was that at a time the cast and crew had already filmed 6 out of 8 episodes that remained. Although the 4th season returned in June and wrapped in July of 2020, Freeform renewed the show for its last and final season, consisting of 6 episodes. Although the show has a very devoted fan base, another season just wasn't in the future for The Bold Type. However, neither the show or streaming service has come out with a public statement as to why it was canceled, but many have their speculation. When the show was renewed for a 5th season, it knew that they were getting close to wrapping things up. The reason being audience interaction or enjoyment. Unless there was somehow some miraculous surge in the ratings, it was the end of the road for The Bold Type, and as many may have predicted, there was no surge. Although some good news about the show is that the viewership for its 5th season had been decently steady in terms of live viewing, especially compared to Season 4, which was just barely enough to get the show renewed. As a matter of fact, the 4th season of the Freeform drama saw a 32% decline in viewership compared to the previous Season 3. Even though The Bold Type has come to an end, Freeform shared a statement that explained how the 3 main characters were on the brink of so-called self-discovery after their 5 seasons of learning and experiencing. They are, quote, on the brink of defining who they really are and how best to leave their mark on the world. Their futures are bright and their love and support for each other will never change. Along with the streaming service, its show creator, Wendy Straker, came out with a statement herself which read, "The Bold Type has been an incredible gift that has truly changed my life. I spent my 20s in New York City working in magazines, so in many ways the show feels very personal to my experiences. I have truly loved writing the show and living in this world. I will miss it terribly, but I'm so grateful for the opportunity and glad to know it's been a comfort to so many people out there." On the topic of its final season, in an interview, Stephen Conrad Moore, who plays Oliver Grayson, reassured fans about its finale, stating, "You will feel satisfied, but not in that Disney fairy tale kind of way where it's just wrapped up. I think it's satisfying in the new way of this is how life is. Life is incomplete at times, but life is hopeful." The production hasn't been too open about why exactly the show was ending, but in an interview, actress Aisha D claimed, "I'm filled with so much gratitude that we got to do 5 seasons of a show. Things end when they're supposed to. Our job as humans is to go with the flow, so we'll just go with the flow." Similarly, Katie Stevens, who plays Jane, said, "It's definitely bittersweet, but I think it's a privilege of having the information that you're ending. It allowed us to be intentional in real life when filming the show." Speaking of its final season, a lot happened. In the relationship department, Kat and Adina got back together at last, and for good. Richard also finally realized that he wants Sutton more than he wants children, paving the way for their reconciliation. On the other hand, Jane ended up hooking up with the hot bodyguard and even bumped into Ryan, her ex. The big question, though, is whether or not she'll actually call up her former writer Scott, since she's now leaving Scarlet. Along with all of that, the Bold Type season finale also left Jane realizing that she's meant to be a writer, and Jacqueline coming to the conclusion that Kat is the future of Scarlet. When speaking on this decision for the finale, the executive producer explained that Kat becoming editor-in-chief was not exactly always part of the vision, explaining that they only really ever came up with it when they found out that they were having the 5th and final season. They knew that they had a shortened season, so they wanted to get Kat back at Scarlet with the girls. They went on to further explain, stating, "Then as we started to think about all the girls' storylines and Jane's storyline and the fact that she wanted this her entire life, and what would it look like if you step into something and it's actually not right for you, we started to realize, well, you know who it is really right for, and what would feel perfect and organic and just really fulfilling is if Kat took that position." As we started to think about that more, we remembered in the pilot how she was really the most confident and comfortable one, and the one always talking to the board, and the one always changing policy. The more we started to play with the idea, the more right it felt for the entire writer's room. Of course, another notable ending for one of the beloved characters was Jane, who after finding a photo of her mom was inspired to leave the magazine and travel the world to have and experience the adventures that her mom was never able to. When asked about Jane leaving Scarlet to travel and what the future may hold for her, showrunner Wendy Straker-Hauser explained that although Jane is the most known in a lot of ways, she's also the most exciting. She stated, "It feels like she has this huge journey for herself, in part because she always was so set on where she was going in her life, and there was a little bit less leeway than she allowed herself to explore. Now she's realizing that exploration for her needs to start now." Hauser also claimed how she thinks Jane is going to travel the world while also keeping her writing roots with her, as she believes Jane is always going to be a writer, that she couldn't live without it. The showrunner also expressed her excitement, as well as the fans, of thinking about where Jane will end up, explaining that the fun is just in the unknown for Jane, who seemingly always knew everything. Hauser added, "But I think she's going to have a big, awesome, amazing journey. She may not settle down back in New York for a long, long time." Needless to say, though, one of the most memorable moments in the final season was the last one, where all three girls were in the fashion closet as Jacqueline was looking on. When commenting on what made the perfect ending moment, Hauser stated that the moment they started brainstorming and breaking down the episode, they knew they wanted to somehow have nods to the pilot, explaining that the scream was just the perfect opportunity and that the fashion closet was just as perfect. She added, "As we were playing with the idea of the changing of the guards and Kat taking over and Jacqueline stepping away, it felt like a really nice moment to just mirror the pilot and to remind the audience that at the end of the day, this show is about these three women. No matter what, against all odds, no matter what titles they have or where they're traveling, it's always going to be about the three of them." So that just felt like a really nice way to symbolically illustrate that. Lastly, although season 5 may be the last for the Bold Type, many wonder if there could still be a chance that more episodes could be ordered someday. And the answer to that is that it's not completely off the table. The main reasoning being what we have seen on TV over the past years. As we've learned over time, we should never say never to the idea of any show coming back. The TV world just seems to have a tendency to shift and change with each passing day. With that said, that's going to wrap up this video. Thanks for watching.